They called me the fixer, but only when things broke loud enough to hear. No recognition, no thanks, just silent expectation. I was the safety net, the 2 a.m. patch, the "can you just" that always turned into 5 hours of hell. But I didn't mind. I was fast, invisible, essential. Until I wasn't. Friday morning, 9:17 a.m., HR slides an envelope across a fake wood desk and says the words that drain the air out of the room. Restructuring. They smiled like it was merciful, like they were letting me go to pasture. But they forgot something. You don't just delete the fixer. You unplug him without checking what he's still holding. And me? I was holding everything. Backups, passwords, audit logs. The kind of quiet control you only notice when it's gone. They didn't fire me. They just removed the last fuse holding their system together. I left with a cardboard box full of desk junk and a flash drive in my sock. Walked to the bus stop because my old Civic wheezed its last breath a month ago. They knew that. They liked that. A fixer who can't leave fast is one they can always call back. But now, I'm gone. On paper, but not in practice. Because no one thought to revoke my admin shell account. I checked from the cracked screen of my secondhand phone. Credentials? Still live. Access to core server structure? Wide open. Either they forgot, or they didn't know I existed under that alias. They never really paid attention. And now I was a ghost in their system, watching, listening, planning. I didn't want to break anything, not at first. Just poke around, remind them who I was. But then I saw it. A new project branch. Same framework, same architecture. My code, stripped of my name, given to Darren, the golden boy PM who never wrote a line of it. Darren, hair like a toothpaste ad, voice like a LinkedIn seminar. The kind of guy who clicks run and calls it innovation. He once told me I wasn't visionary enough while asking me to explain how APIs work. And now he's demoing my system to the board. My design, my logic, my bloodshot weekends rewritten in pastel PowerPoint. No mention of me, not even a fake thank you. Just him standing in front of my architecture like it was his birthright. I watched the recorded pitch on the bus ride home. Each slide felt like a slap. He even renamed functions to sound trendier. I nearly laughed when he bragged about seamless failover redundancy, something I had warned him they couldn't handle without the legacy cache I built. He removed it. He wanted clean code, pretty code. Well, Darren, pretty doesn't survive real traffic. And if the board loves your demo so much, let's see how they feel about the live version. Buckle up. Every system has pressure points. I built them into mine from day one, not to sabotage, but to survive. Backdoors that alert me if something breaks, canary functions that ping a hidden endpoint if the load gets too high. Darren activated 3 of them during his precious demo without even knowing. So now I know exactly where the system chokes. More importantly, I know when they plan to launch. Friday, 10 a.m., full rollout, live to clients. No rollback plan. Darren's betting everything on code he doesn't understand, on stability I designed. And I designed it with rules. If those rules break, say a critical module runs on a stripped config, the system won't crash. No, that's too obvious. It'll slow. Just enough to ruin a meeting. Just enough to make Darren look sloppy. I spent the next 2 days setting my trap. No viruses, no deletes, just tweaks. Subtle ones. Ones only I'd know were wrong. And when the system stumbles, the logs will blame Darren. Wednesday night, 2:43 a.m. I'm sitting in my one-room apartment, lights off, screen dimmed, phone hotspot burning data like firewood. One hand on the keyboard, the other on a cold cup of instant coffee. No lights, no sound, just code. I'm not in their network. I don't need to be. I left behind a silent clone, a shadow repo that mirrors every commit. They don't even know it exists. Darren pushed a last-minute update. Front-end tweaks, branding change, 0 testing. I smiled. Perfect. I injected delay, 1 line, deep in a utility file. The kind of bug that looks like a server hiccup. Not constant, just random enough to avoid detection. By morning, the dashboard will lag. The graphs won't load right. Darren will blame QA. QA will blame DevOps. And I'll still be a ghost, invisible in their version history. My name won't show up, my fingerprints scrubbed. Because you can't catch someone who isn't supposed to exist. Friday, launch day. I'm already awake before the sun. Not nervous, just waiting. I take the bus downtown like usual, not to go to work, but to sit across the street from the office with a cheap coffee and a front row seat. 10 a.m. sharp, the system goes live. They throw confetti in Slack. Darren posts a great work team selfie on LinkedIn. And for the first 10 minutes, it actually works. Smooth, fast, almost perfect. Then the logs start flooding. Timeouts, inconsistent queries, session drops. They blame the load balancer, then the cache, then weird third-party behavior. But there is no third party. It's all me. My delay function activates every time a client hits the endpoint too fast. Exponential backoff built right into the heart of the module. Looks like a system overload, feels like a scaling issue. But no matter what they reboot, it keeps happening. And every second, Darren's shine gets dimmer. By noon, it's a 5-alarm fire. Clients can't get invoices. Dashboards half-load. One poor intern tries to reboot the database from a Slackbot command. I watch from my spot across the street, phone in hand, pretending to scroll social media. Inside the office, they're unraveling. QA's digging through Jenkins logs. DevOps is begging for rollback permission. But Darren's pacing like a TED Talk speaker with a panic disorder. He keeps saying, "This doesn't make sense. It worked yesterday." Of course it did, Darren, because I let it. You don't poison the water before the king drinks. You let him toast first. They finally try to restore a backup, the one Darren approved last night. But that backup, it was never fully tested. The one I designed, they deleted it when they cleaned out old clutter. Poetic. The fixer's work was too invisible, so now they can't fix anything. And this is only the beginning. They go quiet around 2 p.m., not because things are fixed, because they've run out of guesses. The logs don't tell a clear story. The load is steady but unpredictable. Front-end buttons freeze randomly, graphs flicker, data sync stalls just long enough to scare clients. Not break, flicker, like the system's gasping. Darren starts calling vendors, threatens legal action. IT opens a ticket with a third-party cloud provider they don't even use for this deployment. That's how lost they are. I know the pattern because I built it. The subtle unthreading. A false sense of control. It's not dramatic, it's slow, like a tire leaking air. And every fix they try, I built counterweights. If they patch one file, another gets sluggish. If they revert, they overwrite clean logs with noise. It's not sabotage, it's orchestration. Because sometimes revenge doesn't need fire. Sometimes it just needs silence. And 3:30 p.m. emergency board meeting. I know because one of the execs still uses the old shared Zoom scheduling calendar, the one I wrote a webhook for back in April. It pings me when something big gets booked. I crack open a lukewarm instant ramen and tune in. No video, just audio. CFO, CTO, legal, and Darren, voice cracking like a dropped plate. "We're working on it," he says. "We had some unexpected instability." Translation, we launched garbage and didn't test it. The CTO mentions me by name, once. Didn't he build the original system? Darren dodges, says I was too legacy-minded. They laugh nervously. Then silence, the kind where everyone's calculating who gets sacrificed. I know that sound. I've heard it from the other side of the table. Now I'm just listening, eating noodles, invisible, unfired, untraceable. This isn't the end. This is just the part where the walls start to shift and nobody can remember which way was out. Saturday morning. I'm halfway through a grocery run. Canned soup, store-brand cereal, nothing fancy, when I get a ping. An email from someone in the board. Not Darren, someone higher. The subject line is just, coffee? No details, just a time. Sunday, 9 a.m. I almost ignore it. Almost. But I know what it is. Damage control. They don't know what's wrong, but they know who built the thing that's breaking. So I go. Cheap diner, corner booth. CFO already there, tie loosened, dark circles under his eyes. He doesn't bother with pleasantries, just a napkin and numbers. How fast can you stabilize it? I sip my coffee. Depends. Do you want it working, or do you want it bulletproof? He exhales, writes a number. It's generous, too generous. He's desperate. I take the napkin. Not the deal. I'll think about it, I say. I walk out, leaving their system broken and their panic intact. That night, I dig into my clone. Not to fix, to finish. You see, I wasn't just a fixer. I was a builder. And builders don't stop just because the blueprint gets stolen. So I start pulling my code into a clean, independent framework. Faster, leaner, mine. No Darren edits, no fake polish. Just raw functionality, stripped of politics. I spend 6 hours rewriting the backbone with better threading, automated scaling, real error handling, things Darren would never understand. I'm not rebuilding it for them. I'm preparing for after. Because the moment I patch their system, they'll bury me again. But if I launch something better, something theirs can't compete with, that's checkmate. They'll come crawling, asking for licenses, for integrations, for mercy. And this time, they'll get terms. Or they'll get left behind. The fixer doesn't just break things, he replaces them. And my version? It doesn't flicker, it doesn't lag, it doesn't need a Darren. Sunday night, 11:42 p.m. I make one final change to their system. Not a bug, a fix. One clean patch that stabilizes the whole mess, quietly restores the balance without credit, without trace. The system begins humming again by morning. No thanks, no mention. They'll think Darren found the answer in a panic-fueled sprint, or that some junior dev accidentally solved it. Perfect. Let them believe that, because now they're off guard, complacent, and in 2 days, I launch mine. Public, open beta, a faster, lighter tool built from the same skeleton, but without the rot. I use a pseudonym, no real name, just a product, slick and quiet and clean. I seed it through forums, dev communities, Slack groups. It spreads faster than I expected. Early users call it a cleaner fix for messy infrastructure. Ironic. Darren's system stabilizes just in time to be obsolete. Tuesday. Darren's presenting again, this time to secure Phase 2 funding. Expansion, growth. He's rehearsed every word, shaved the edges of his panic down to polished confidence. What he doesn't know is the board has already seen my clone. One of them asked an intern to compare architectures. The intern sent back a slide deck with benchmarks. Mine outperforms his in every metric: speed, efficiency, uptime. I'm not in the room, but I might as well be. Darren clicks through graphs with forced enthusiasm. And we're scaling rapidly, he says, unaware the CFO already paused funding to reassess infrastructure options. That's corporate speak for you're dead and don't know it yet. Darren doesn't realize his entire pitch is being shadowed by a ghost, me. And while he smiles for investors, I'm already 3 releases ahead. Each update makes his code look more ancient, more bloated, more like the product of a fraud with perfect hair and zero grit. Wednesday, noon. Darren's demo site goes offline. Not because I touched it. I didn't have to. The load just shifted. Clients, dev teams, sysadmins, they're jumping ship. The new tool, my tool, is faster, cleaner, free for now. They migrate out of curiosity and stay out of necessity. No contracts, no sales team, just performance. Darren starts bleeding users like a severed artery. The board schedules an internal restructuring review. He knows what it means. He starts calling in favors, cold emailing tech blogs, begging for coverage to stay relevant. But nobody wants to publish a puff piece about a system that stuttered during rollout and got outclassed by an anonymous beta. His face drops from the homepage by Thursday. His calendar clears by Friday. And the last person he messages before the hammer falls? Me. One line. Did you do this? I don't answer. I archive the message.
Some ghosts don't haunt, they rebuild.
It's quiet now. No more urgent pings, no more fake deadlines. Just clean code, fast systems, and silence. I didn't burn the place down. I just left the lights off long enough for everyone to realize who kept them on. The fixer they fired didn't sabotage anything. He just stepped back. And when things fell apart, he built something better. Not for revenge, but to prove a point. That value isn't loud. It's not on LinkedIn posts or in polished demo decks. It's in the things that don't break when no one's watching. Darren's gone. The board still floats, confused but compliant. And me? I'm not coming back. I'm shipping V1.1 tonight. I've already got offers. Not from corporations, from people, engineers, teams that remember what it means to build something that works. And this time, I own every line of it. No title, no office, just control, just clarity, just code.